Welcome to the APD iConnect and electronic visit verification presentation. My name is Sheila Mott and I am the APD iConnect Organizational Change Management and Training Manager for the project. And before I get started, I just wanted to say that I hope all of you are staying safe, and I am very sorry that we cannot be together for this presentation in person. The implementation schedule, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on our implementation schedule. As many of you know, APD iConnect is being implemented in phases. Our APD staff and waiver support coordinators have been using APD iConnect since December 2018. This year, 2020, marks the transition of consumer cost plans from the iBudget application to the APD iConnect system. In addition, our respite and personal supports providers are scheduled to begin using APD iConnect in the summer or the fall of 2020. They will also begin using our APD iConnect electronic visit verification or EVV mobile site. Electronic visit verification, EVV for short, uses geolocation tracking to record where a service is delivered. It is a federal mandate that was included in the 21st Century Cures Act that was signed into law in 2016. This mandate requires electronic visit verification for Medicaid-funded personal care services and home health services that require an in-home visit by a provider. To comply with this federal mandate, APD has determined that certain iBudget waiver services fall within that definition of personal care and home health services. These services include respite, personal supports, and nursing provided in a non-licensed setting. Geolocation tracking ensures that services are being delivered where they're supposed to be. This will help reduce instances of fraud, and the 2020 EVV implementation includes only respite and personal supports services. Nursing provided in a non-licensed setting, that will be added as an EVV service in 2021. The respite or personal supports worker that comes to your home will have either a smartphone, a tablet, or a laptop that they will use to access the APD iConnect EVV mobile site. One of the things that the worker will do before they get to your house is they'll make sure that the GPS location is turned on their device so that the EVV geolocation tracking can work. There is nothing that the worker should need from you in terms of internet access or equipment. The providers will have their own device, and again, that can be a smartphone, a tablet, or a laptop, and that device should have its own access to the internet. So they won't need your Wi-Fi password or use of any of your equipment, and that's not appropriate. The EVV functionality in APD iConnect will become the method that providers will use to submit claims for the respite and personal support services that they deliver to you. Respite providers have already started to receive training on how to use APD iConnect and the EVV mobile site. Training for our personal supports providers will begin during the summer of 2020. So for the providers that we do have viewing this presentation, if you've not already received your invitation to attend training, don't worry, those invitations are being sent out in staggered groups to make sure that we don't miss anybody. And there will also be an additional pre-recorded webinar that will be published to our website for actual respite and personal supports workers to learn how to use the EVV mobile site. So there's more information coming on that, but again, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that in case we had any providers of respite or personal supports who are viewing this presentation. To ensure compliance with the EVV federal mandate, APD has set certain addresses as approved locations for the delivery of EVV services. Remember, the federal mandate is that there are certain personal care services and home health services that require the provider to do in-home service delivery. So one of the things that APD did was look at, by the nature of our services can happen in multiple locations, but also the individuals, they may visit their parents, their guardians, their guardian advocates. And so we wanted to be sure that we determined these addresses, these locations are approved locations for the starting and the finishing of delivery of an EVV service. So if these addresses apply, one of the things that you may want to do is contact your waiver support coordinator and ensure that all of the addresses are correct and updated in your APD iConnect record. We recognize that sometimes circumstances require services to be delivered at an alternate location. In these instances, the provider will be able to add documentation to justify that change in location before they submit their claim for payment. Let me give you an example. Let's say that typically the respite worker comes to your home and delivers the service to you after school or to your loved one after school. But something happens and you get held up at work, or there's a bad traffic jam, and so you contact the respite worker and you say, hey, can you pick Johnny up from school today and go ahead and do your outing and then bring him home? So the respite worker goes to Johnny's school and picks him up. Now, school is not on the approved service delivery location list, so all that the worker will have to do is they will go ahead and input that they are at the school's address, and they'll be able to go ahead and start the service delivery. And then once they're finished with taking them into the community or whatever was planned for that day, when they bring him home, they'll be able to end the delivery. And all they'll have to do is just add a justification that they were contacted by the parent, the guardian, things happened and they were asked to initiate the service delivery at an alternate location. So what does this mean for you? For recipients of services like respite or personal supports, you really shouldn't see much change once we implement electronic visit verification. Your waiver support coordinators will be notified by APD when the EVV implementation is beginning, so they'll be able to let you know when you might expect to see that your workers are going to be doing something on their phone or their tablet or their laptop at the beginning and the ending of each service delivery. All that they will really have to do, though, is they will log into our APD iConnect EVV mobile site at the beginning of the service, and then again, they'll log in at the end of the service to end that delivery. There's nothing they need to do actively in the EVV mobile site while they're actually providing your service. They do have the ability to complete their documentation, but they will be doing that after they've left your home. So that you shouldn't really see any change. It should be that your worker comes to pick you up or to work with you at home. They log into that mobile site and then they put their phone or their laptop or their tablet away, and they go on and deliver the service, and you all follow the schedule that you already have in place. These next several slides will show you how the worker will use the EVV mobile site. There isn't anything you need to do, but I thought it might be helpful for you to see it from the worker's perspective, just so you know what's happening. When the worker first logs into the EVV mobile site, they will see a series of menu options. And that's what you see here on this example. Now, for this example, I do want to point out that this is for our presentation purposes only, so there's no real data here. But when we implement the electronic visit verification and our actual APD iConnect EVV mobile site, what the worker will see is your data. The worker will routinely need to synchronize the data in the EVV mobile site with the data in your APD iConnect record. And that's when they'll be using their data plan on their mobile device. So because the provider, whether it's the actual worker that comes to see you if they are a solo provider or the person that comes to see you is an employee of an agency, because that agency or that solo provider has an authorization for services for you, they're going to be able to see your name. So they won't see all of the names of all of the consumers who receive waiver services. They are only going to see your name or any other consumer that that provider has an authorization to provide services like respite or personal supports, just like they would in APD iConnect. Let's take a closer look at the different sections of your EVV mobile site record in these next few slides. Again, this is just example data of what the site would look like. None of this is real data. When your worker logs in, they're going to see your name, not Violet Shepherd. They're going to see your address, your telephone number, and all of that information comes directly from your record in APD iConnect. So again, for our waiver support coordinators that might be viewing this presentation, this is critical for you to make sure that you're keeping the resident's address, the guardian advocate address, and the parent's address all current and up to date so that that information can be pulled into the EVV mobile site. When the worker synchronizes the data, this information is updated if it's been changed. So if you move and your waiver support coordinator changes your address in APD iConnect, it will automatically update here in the EVV mobile site the next time that the worker synchronizes the data. Remember, we're going to talk about approved delivery locations. Remember, the approved addresses include your residential address, your parent's address, and if applicable, your guardian or your guardian advocate's address. And these are addresses that are already recorded in your record in APD iConnect. The approved services screen will list all of the authorized services that are approved for EVV delivery. So remember, for this year, for 2020, the first service that will be approved for EVV delivery will be respite. And then later in the year, personal supports will be approved for EVV delivery. Nursing services provided in non-licensed settings will be added for EVV delivery in 2021. So for those of you who receive respite, your respite worker will see respite services listed here. But if you also receive nursing services, they won't see that until next year. Likewise, for our personal supports providers and for those of you who receive personal supports, it will show the personal supports here, but if you also receive nursing, that won't show up here until 2021. On the worker screen, they'll be able to see your waiver support coordinator and all of the workers associated with your EVV service delivery. Now, what do I mean by all of the workers associated with your EVV service delivery? Back in the APD iConnect application, the provider, the agency owner or the solo provider, they have to assign workers to you so that the workers will be able to see you from the mobile site. So in this example here, Jennifer, she might be the worker that has been coming out to see you and providing your respite or your personal supports for months or years. You know Jennifer, you work with Jennifer. For Jennifer to be able to access your name in the EVV mobile site, her agency owner added her as your primary EVV worker. Now, sometimes things happen and your worker's not able to come out and they need to send a backup. So your agency owner, the agency with the authorization, or your solo provider, they have the ability to list a backup EVV worker. So let's say tomorrow Jennifer wakes up and she's got the stomach flu and she's not feeling well. She's able to see that Mandy is your backup worker. So she can call Mandy and say, I'm under the weather. Can you go out and work with Violet today? Mandy will be able to come out and see your name in the EVV mobile site because she's been added as your backup worker. So when we talk about adding workers or workers associated with you for EVV service delivery, they can't see your name unless they were added to you by the agency owner or the solo provider. Now, solo providers, they're going to be the worker, and we know that. But for our agency owners, they have the ability to add a primary EVV worker, a backup EVV worker, and as many as 3 alternates. That way, when something happens, there is no interruption for your service, and those people that need to be able to see your record are going to be able to see your record in the EVV mobile site. So when the worker arrives at your location, at your house or your parents' house, and they're ready to start delivering your service, they're going to click on this Create New Delivery button. And then from there, they will go ahead and select the service that they're delivering. And from the list of approved addresses, they will choose what address they are at. And it'll be at that point that if they are at an alternate location that is not on the approved delivery location list, they'll be able to manually type in where they are. And that would be like the name of the school, the business, the doctor's office, as well as the address for that location. So they'll be able to key all of that in so that it shows up here. And then when they're ready to start, they're going to click this Start button. Once they click that Start button, they don't need to be doing anything else in the EVV mobile site. They can put their phone, their laptop, their tablet, whatever their device is, they can put it away and focus 100% of their attention on you, which is really why they're there. They are there for you. So this electronic visit verification does not in any way take away from the quality of the service that you're receiving. All it is doing is documenting by geolocation tracking where the service was started and ended. And when the service is being ended, then your worker will go ahead and pull out their smartphone or their tablet, whatever device they're using. They will log back in and they'll click that End Delivery button. At that point, they'll say their goodbyes and they will head back to their car and on to their next appointment or their next location. Once they leave you though, whether it's back in their car or at an office later, they will then come back in and add in their iBudget Waiver Handbook required documentation for that service. So for respite and personal supports, they're going to add the service log and document everything that they did with you during that service delivery. Again, this is something that should be happening after they've left your home, not while they're still with you. They should end the delivery, say their goodbyes, and then they're going to come back later and fill in the documentation. Once the documentation has been completed, they will then be able to upload from their car, from their home, wherever they are, they will be able to upload this entire record into your APD iConnect record. And that's where the magic happens. That is where if your waiver support coordinator happens to be in your record at that time, they will be able to instantaneously see the documentation of that service. They will be able to see that your respite worker was out today at this time, and here's the service log that they've included. And what that's going to do, again, this is the beauty of having both waiver support coordinators and providers using the same system for the first time ever accessing the same information, because this is only going to improve the quality of the communication between the waiver support coordinators and the providers, as well as with the APD staff in the region and state office. It's going to improve the quality of your service delivery, because if there was something that happened during that service delivery, there was a concern that the provider added in their documentation, your waiver support coordinator will be able to know right away and be able to take proactive steps to address whatever that concern was, so as to only improve the quality of your services and supports. This is really exciting for us, and we have been working very hard at APD with our vendor to bring all of this together, and we are just so excited that we are finally at the point where, again, our waiver support coordinators and our staff have been using APD iConnect for, almost 2 years, and now we're able to start bringing our providers in so that they also can share this information all in one location. This concludes the APD iConnect electronic visit verification presentation. We hope you found this information helpful. I hope it excites you. I recognize that you might have questions, you might have comments, and again, I'm just so sorry we can't be together in person to have a conversation about this, because I just want to share all of this with you. But if you do have questions or comments, please use this iConnect at apdcares.org email address. I monitor that email address. I would be more than happy to send you any additional information, answer your questions. I thank you so much for your time today, and hope that you continue to stay safe. I know that these are hard times for everybody, but please stay safe. And again, if you have questions, comments, use that iConnect at apdcares.org email address, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you and have a great day.